I'm going to hand over now to Grant, who will be interviewing Warren Murphy about the WA solar bond. Thank you.
It's like washing over me, all these strategies. In fact, I was just sitting at the back and Charles is going, oh, what if we did this with children? So, like, for example, if children are employed, you know, here's a good one. What age can you start making contribution to super? As soon as the heart starts beating, they can actually become a member of the fund, which is, there's a really good section of the book about grandparents making contributions, because let's face it, the best time to make a contribution is when someone's in their teens. The other side is, as I said before, there's no limit on deductions in terms of superannuation. There's certain different consequences from a tax planning point of view, but really any professional, a doctor, a dentist, anyone who's fly in, fly out, who's paying, who's getting quite a lot of income, they're paying way too much tax if they're not using their superannuation. Just simply the fact, if they aren't making considerable deductions into super, which can then be used to invest in, like early stage innovation companies, other stuff like that, then they're just really missing out on the game. And look, from a professional's point of view, I see it, mainly probably because I've written the book and I actually start to grasp the whole thing then. That's why you guys are the first ones to ever see it, is that it's really important to get on top of it, because a lot of accountants, a lot of financial planners don't understand, they don't bring the whole thing together. So all I could do is, again, thank probably Warren. We're going to go through and have a look at another world first here, but also thank him because their company has actually sponsored that book for each and every one of you, which sits on a website for $50. So it's not like we can see it's not like a giveaway book. So again, thank you for that. Where this came about is Warren is obviously, he's a guru when it comes around to renewables and all that sort of stuff. I live in Adelaide at the moment, and we all know what a disaster was in South Australia last year in terms of where their system is. And I just don't think that they got it. I think they had the idea, but they just didn't get it right. They were too far in front of things. But certainly Warren's got a brilliant idea in terms of solar. I came across Warren through a friend of mine going back maybe a couple of months ago, and he was telling me about this plant that they're building in Byford, which isn't, I'm not thinking it's not that far away. How far away is it from here?
30k.
Yeah, so he was telling me about it, and how normally what they do is they go to an industry fund, or they go to a retail super fund, or one of the big family offices in Melbourne or so, and they offer this project. Now, we'll take him through the project, but it's quite interesting because I said, well, why do that? Because what we can do is, obviously, if someone's buying that energy, that means cash flow is being paid for that energy. Would everyone agree with that one? And I said that, as we said before, one of the things that, like, my mum needs is good, strong cash flow coming out that's not bank. Let's face it, banks rip you off. Would you agree with that one? So they've got to get good, strong cash flow from that. So I said, why don't we get involved, and Warren's done that, and with his team, and create the world's first solar bond. Now, the only other solar bond in the world is, does everyone understand what a bond is? It's just like a payment of income stream over a period of time. The only other one is the guy from Elon Musk and Tesla. So over in the US, they've got solar bonds, but what they do is they take the money then to put on solar panels across domestic. Here, which is, if we have a look at it, here the purpose is for what? So the solar bond?
Oh, right. So that's the point you were just making about the crisis, but the solar bond purpose is to pay a secure income stream.
So with Western Australia, where's Western Australia at in terms of its renewable energy target?
Right, so
what is a renewable energy target?
Exactly.
Anyway, that's probably a better understanding.
Let's go here. So the Commonwealth Government has set a target for Australia percentage of renewables, which essentially is a target that converts to about 20% of all energy as renewables. That's what the original target was, revised down a little bit. And where we are at the moment in meeting that target is the red part is that's committed, the green part is the estimate currently, and the white part is that which is left to be done by 2020. So still a reasonable amount that needs to be put into the ground, and there's an incentive from the federal government in the way of certificates to projects as an income stream.
Now, I must admit, before I met you, I really knew nothing about solar. I just thought it was like all this stuff that people put up on their roofs and stuff like that. But what I have done a lot of research, and there's lots of stuff you can get on YouTube. It's my favourite, a lot of the stuff that's going on. It looks as though the efficiency and the costs per kilowatt from solar, it used to be really expensive, like 10 or 15 years ago, but it's almost like computers, it just seems to keep on coming down further and further. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. There's a theory that it's much like the computer industry,
like Moore's
law, where it's supposedly coming down 20% per annum, and certainly over the last 20 years has averaged about that. It's probably flattened out a little bit at the moment, but it has come down very substantially, and is now very competitive. I would argue it's cheaper than thermal energy in Western Australia, so coal or gas, it's cheaper.
Yeah. So the one at Byford, you just want to go through that, so go through the specifics around it.
Yep. So I think everyone in this room would know where Byford is. Often have to explain when I'm on the east coast where Byford is. It's not that far out of Perth CBD. And the project is, we spent a few years developing it. It's got excellent community support. It's basically tapping into an existing substation, so that infrastructure's already been bought, and it's sort of a very fast growing area, believe it or not, and I found this really surprising. It's actually the fastest growing area in Australia on the last census. That really, I know every time I go there's more houses going in, but I was very surprised at that. Now, it might be because it's coming off a low base, but yeah, even so, it's a very fast growing area. The project itself has got a lot of significant support. We've got an offtake contract with Wesfarmers. I think again everyone in this room would know who they are, and it's fantastic that they're
actually it just seems to me around that one, because I know you guys were talking about energy security, but now why wouldn't Wesfarmers just pile in like everyone else and consistently get there? We wouldn't want to do it in South Australia, but why would you want to just get your electricity like everyone else?
Well, I think Wesfarmers likes this project. It likes the appeal of it. We're the ones who've got the expertise. We've done this before many times in Western Australia, which is not to say Wesfarmers as a massive group can't do it, but it's diversifying their supply away from other sources as well. So to them it's a secure and reliable source of renewable energy, and that from a marketing perspective is important to them as well.
So what's their contract that's already secured?
Yep, it's a 13-year, it's 13-year contract, I think.
Okay, cool.
Western Power is a government-owned network company that we connect into. We've signed those agreements about 6 weeks ago. WBHO, you see their signs all around Perth. They're building the solar farm for us on a fixed price, fixed time basis. Their subsidiary is ProBuild, so you see them building the big new development in Fremantle. So very, very competent and experienced and large group. They've joint ventured with a company called Phoenix, who are experts in solar farm design. They're from Germany and the US. And the CFC, you may have heard of them. They're the federal government set up body to fund renewable businesses, and they have given us detailed facility, debt facility up to 45 million, and done all the due diligence on the project. So they've gone through everything that you can possibly think of.
Okay, so obviously the purpose is now that you've actually got to go through the build process.
Yep.
The government's already done its due diligence on you. Wesfarmers are committed, so they're pretty keen on getting the energy going,
and the certificates,
and they'll pay for security, so you've got a line over a period of time.
Yep.
And obviously you've got the skill to do it all together. Backing on that, so there's a tranche there that this is where the new products are coming in, the solar bond and also the solar equity. Do you want to explain about those a little bit?
Yeah, that was these are just some of the agreements. We've kind of covered those, but essentially what we're offering is 10-year bonds secured over the company, paying a 7% per annum income stream, and that's a very secure, top of the structure income stream. And then we're also raising some equity that will pay around about 10% or over 10% with a solid franking credit stream. And that really builds on a lot of those strategies that Grant was talking about earlier in terms of secure income streams, but also the value of franking credits in an SMSF.
I think the main thing from my perspective is quite innovative in that that SMSFs have an ability to get in and really start to invest in infrastructure being energy itself as opposed to property. Of course there's the property component, but you're getting that energy, and let's face it, unlimited energy from the sun. A lot of if you sit down and have a look at it, and I think it's important for everyone to have a chat with Warren, and also we've got Stuart who's madly rushing it through ASIC at the moment, is to actually have a look at that consistent income stream. I've had to look at it for Mum because it's indicatively it's still working on it, but if it's paying 7%, and it's much better, she's going to get over 2 to 3%, and she has to look out over that 10-year period. So that's something else. Obviously the other side is not everyone wants the straight income flow. As I said, my dad's done his business by getting dividends with fully franked franking credits. So there's that equity side on offer. And I think I was having a chat with Charles and Gina, is that sometimes you might want to balance the two. This is the first time ever anywhere in the world that one project has been offered as like a standalone project that normally these guys would be pushing off, to the big end of town now. And one of the first things I looked at it was, well, guys, 7%, and it's indicative at the moment. So they've still got to go through all the ASIC as well. Mm-hmm. How does it pay such a high rate? Because 7%, you think, oh my God, that's a lot. And I think you need to have a chat and read the prospectus, have a chat. But well, there you go. I'll put it to you. Why 7% is quite a high indicative interest rate sitting in there?
I think largely because we're cutting out the fund manager who likes to earn a premium return, and so cutting out that middleman is one way we're doing it. Which is usually like a bank or a fund manager. Yeah, it's usually the industry funds or the large family offices. One of the big billionaires in Melbourne or whatever that set their funds up. Those are the sort of people we typically sell to. Mm. So look, I think it's a really exciting one. So have a chat with those guys anyway. But is there any questions for Warren? I think it's, once you get all the information, the data, these guys will be around for a while. But I know when you're looking at closing the whole project, because obviously Wesfarmers is pretty keen on getting the energy straight away. We're in the closing mode, so basically the end of February, sort of like the end of it. Okay, so a bit of time from there. So these guys will be around for a while. If you want to talk, I'll be around as well afterwards if you want me to autograph the books. As I said, there's so much to learn. You really got a couple of world firsts. This is the first time I've ever talked to trustees on that book. First time in the world you're actually getting a solar bond, which I think is a pretty exciting project. You'll get a lot more follow-up information from obviously Gina and also Charles.
but we'll be around here a bit later on, and what I'll do is I'll just hand over to Charles, who'll close up the session. So if you'd like to thank Warren for their sponsorship.
Thank you.